whether red or blue. I could not care less about Texas, me and you. They created this give me country that don't value hard work. For a Texan to survive, all we need are some seeds and dirt. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country before it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country before it's long gone. We believe in family and we value our community. Gladly lend a helping hand to a neighbor in need. And we don't believe that government should provide for all of society's needs. No, it's the pride of a Texan to give to others voluntarily. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country before it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Gotta save your country before it's long gone. They like our tax dollars and they love our natural resources. They don't want to see us driving trucks, they'd rather see us riding horses. And now they want to ban our guns, you know, especially the ones that look scary. But may I remind you of the Gonzales Cannon and the Alamo heroes we buried. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country before it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save our country before it's long gone. This last verse is straight from the Texas Constitution, Article 1, Section 1 and 2. Look it up. Texas is an independent state, yet presently we suffer. We no longer possess the right to locally self-govern. And now it's time as a people in which all political power is inherent. And in such manner we find expedient, we reform or abolish our government. I said, Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country before it's long gone. Texan rise, don't you hear your call? Got to save your country before it's long gone.
Hi, my name is Emma. I'm going to be born on March 1st, 2022, the very same day that Texans choose a new lieutenant governor in the Republican primary. The question is, what kind of country will I grow up in? Will it be a Texas that is strong, free, independent and full of opportunity? Will it be a Texas where the people set our own direction, create policies that work for us? Imagine being able to create a government that is responsible to our needs, meets our challenges, and is the size we want. Or will the country I grow up in be ruled by 2.5 million unelected bureaucrats, far off in Washington, D.C., and a disconnected political class in Austin, dictating how we live our lives, leaving our border unsecured, and taxing us out of our homes? Will it be a Texas filled with unlimited potential and opportunity, where I will be free to choose my direction in life without the government standing in my way? Or will I be under the thumb of oppressive federal and state regulations, dictating my every move, and political cronies choosing winners and losers? What kind of financial stability will the country I grow up in have? Will the money I earn be taken by the federal government and used for wasteful programs in places like California and New York? Or will my money stay in Texas, and be used to make Texas a better place? We're already the 10th largest economy in the world. Can you imagine what an independent Texas economy would be like without the costly federal regulations we're constantly having to deal with? Will the country I grow up in allow me to reach my full potential? Let me have some say in what my life will be like? What freedoms I have, and allow my voice to be heard? Imagine how people would feel about voting, if they actually could make a difference, and be involved in their own government. Imagine government officials really being accountable to the voters. Will I grow up in a Texas, where decisions about our future are made by the people who care most about Texas, the people who live here?
On March the 1st, every single one of us will be asked to make a choice between two futures. It's a choice based on who you trust to make Texas a better place today and for future generations. An unresponsive political establishment, or candidates like me who will put Texas and Texans first. A vote for Dan Patrick means we stay with the present system, firmly under the thumb of the repeated failures of a federal government heading rapidly in the wrong direction. A system that leaves our border wide open, taxes you out of your home, forces unconstitutional mandates on our people, and removes your choices in how your children are educated. A vote for me as your next lieutenant governor means we begin the process of choosing a new direction for Texas. It means that we can make the decisions that are right for us, for all of our citizens, and for children like Emma.
When March 1st arrives and I become the newest Texan, please vote for Daniel Miller. For yourself. For Texas. And for future generations of Texans like me. The country you choose for me to grow up in now, will make a big difference in my future. Please choose wisely.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's me, Daniel Miller, and this is Late Night Coffee Talk. And, it's my weekly decompress. It's the time when I open up the old aperture on the camera here, key up the mic, and just have my evening cup of coffee with each one of you. And we talk about what's been happening over the last week, what's going on right now, what's coming up. And of course, a healthy dose of your comments and questions. And as you can tell by looking around, I'm not at home. I'm on the road, and it's the final days of the campaign for the Republican primary. And so, as you saw in that ad just a moment ago, March the 1st, we are about midway through the second week of early voting, and oh man, it has been a bit of a whirlwind. We have been all over, but I'll get to that here in a moment. Let's go ahead and get a little housekeeping out of the way first, if you don't mind. Number one, if you're watching on YouTube, whether it's my YouTube channel or the TNM's, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we go live. And, and of course, if you're watching on the TNM's YouTube channel, Super Chat is active. So if you'd like to make a contribution to the TNM via Super Chat, of course, we get, I get notifications of the Super Chats, and I get an opportunity to thank you personally in the chat is if we catch it. The thing scrolls like a slot machine. That being said, please be sure to like and subscribe to both channels. We are steadily building that viewer base, and of course, there's a share button on YouTube as well. Now, additionally, if you're watching on Facebook, on my Facebook page or the TNM's Facebook page, be sure to like and comment and share. Like, comment, share. That makes sure that we defeat the algorithm as best we can. Not banning people like they did to a gubernatorial candidate this week. 1 week out from election day, gubernatorial candidate gets banned from Facebook. What a surprise. Not one for us, but we can talk about that later if you'd like. Additionally, if you are watching on Twitter, be sure to do all the Twitter things. Do a retweet, tweet at us. We're both on, I think, my Twitter account and the TNM's Twitter account. So, do that on either one of those. And then, of course, tonight we're on Twitch, we're on Rumble, we're on, I think you can even catch this on our Roku channel right now, too. I don't know because I have been on the road a lot. In fact, we'll talk about that here in a moment. Oh, one final thing. Chat's aggregating over here. Kara's back at base, monitoring chat, and she's getting everything over here so I can see it. I'm on the road, so it's a little bit different scenario than when I'm in the office and everything's set up, but we'll make it work. But anyway, all of your comments aggregate into chat. If you have questions, be sure to drop them in there. Early in has a tendency to win on these things because we get so many every single week. But I try to get to as many of them as I can, time permitting. I try to be respectful of your time. And remember, this is kind of a not just a midweek decompress, but it's a time for me where I could take a break from work and then do this and then get back to work after this one or more cups of coffee with you. So that being said, we woke up this morning in Abilene. Last night we were at the Taylor County meeting of the Taylor County Republican Party, where Lieutenant Governor candidates were guests. We each got 15 minutes to speak. And that was, in fact, our very last time as Lieutenant Governor candidates all in the same spot. So, just had a phenomenal time. Got a great chance to let Tracy Bradford know how much I appreciated her and how great it's been to get to know her and her husband out here on the campaign trail. And look, that's one of the unintended byproducts, I think, of this is that so many of us, particularly statewide candidates, have gotten to know each other and become really good friends. A lot of us did not know each other beforehand. But we have become fast friends this go around, and I have gotten to the point where I'm communicating on a regular basis with so many people that I just met because of the campaign, like Dr. John Spires and Kerry Council, and so many of these guys. So let me just go ahead and take an opportunity to say this, because as we wind up early voting, I think we're pretty much done with all of the kind of major statewide candidate scrums. So let me just go ahead, and if I don't get a chance to thank you personally, if you're one of those candidates that we have been able to meet and spend time with out there, whether you're a state level, statewide candidate, or even in the local candidates, like all those great folks up there in Wise County, or the folks we met over in the Bexar County area or the Hill County, really just anywhere. It has been an absolute pleasure meeting you and getting to know you, and I thank you for having the fortitude to step up and say that you would do what on paper looks to be pretty easy, but in reality is just absolutely punishing and brutal. So thank you all. And I just want to say that at any time, those of you who have my number, feel free to reach out. Sometimes we have to commiserate, right? And look, let's not forget, and I think it's important for everyone to know that the things that candidates are having to go through this cycle, and I can't speak from experience because I don't know this for a fact, that it's happened for other cycles, but I can say this cycle has been especially grueling for the candidates. Overall, there has been sort of a lack of coordination for candidate events around the state. So they've got us driving all over Hell's Half Acre from one city to the next. So many things scheduled on the same day. And so we're having to ping around and hit 2, 3 events. I mean, it's been punishing. And I think we can't escape the fact that during this process, a candidate was killed in a car accident doing this very thing, having to travel to go hit these events. So, it takes a little bit of a kind of a special mindset to be out there and doing these things and to do these things. So, my hat's off to all of you. All of you candidate guys out there, gals, just the sheer tenacity that it takes to go try to get your name out there, even on a local level, right? So kudos to you, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you, and hopefully on the other side of this, we're going to have some lifelong friends with a shared experience. So so woke up in Abilene this morning about 5:15 to what sounded like somebody slinging pea gravel at my window at the hotel, and it was sleet. Right. So, the weather conditions I know for a large chunk of North Texas have taken a bit of a turn. And so be careful out there, everyone. If you're at home and you don't have to travel, don't. It's pretty rough, but we were able to make it. Some able driving from our main guy over here, Daniel Armour, who makes sure that we are safe everywhere we go, with the exception of that one U-turn in Conroe that night. Just saying, they're over here with me, by the way. So, so I get to play to an audience tonight that's not entirely virtual, which is a new one for me. Maybe that's what we ought to do. Maybe we ought to do a live coffee talk, like with an audience. What do you think? That would be it. Yeah, Daphne, no one really wants to see you dance on the camera, but that's nice. Well, it's not that kind of a show. Okay. we don't do dancing, we don't do singing. Okay. Well, you can do your late night dancing talk, liturgical dance, get you some ribbons. See, guys, this is what happens when we all spend way too much time together. Now, let me just say this. Dan and Daphne have gone above and beyond, not only being on the road, helping to engage these folks, but making sure that we do it safely, we do it in an organized fashion, and just do it at a professional level. We're not the upside here is that we didn't just fall off the turnip truck yesterday, right? We have been campaigning for Texas for years and years and years. So we know how to go into a place and be professional and to get the thing and get the job done right. So kudos to them. I can tell you right now that we would not be anywhere near where we are right now, whether it's on the Texas issue or in the campaign, without their steadfast dedication, their professionalism, their friendship. I mean, they're like family. So, I mean, I say like family. You guys are family. I mean, that's just the way it works. So, thank you both. Okay. Well, now that we got that out of the way, don't make this weird. I'm quite unused. I'm not. I'm being nice, and you should be happy about me being nice. Well, so anyway, look, guys, we are. It's been, and if I'm sounding a little disconnected, it's probably because I'm not. I wasn't even sure today was the day we were supposed to do coffee talk, right? I mean, that's just what the travel schedule's been like. It's been quite crazy, but look, it has been phenomenal. The week that we have had has just been tremendous. We've had campaign volunteers everywhere. Lee Jacobson was there with us in Abilene last night. We had Paul Roby, our field director, out at another event. Claver, our campaign manager, was up in Tyler the night before. Hutch Hutchison was down, I think it was in Webster. And I think Claver was down at a Montgomery County event. So, I mean, we've got volunteers covering everywhere. This week, we released our first radio ad. If you haven't seen that, you can go check that out on social media. I think we've got it posted to both Facebook and Twitter, and it's on the website as well, where you can actually download it if you wanted to. But it's been, between all of these events that we've been hitting, the block walk volunteers out there, like that event that we did on Saturday, right? Saturday or Sunday. Sunday that was hosted by Christina and Chris Drury, where we got to stand right alongside of our good friend and a true gentleman and just a diamond of a person, Charles Turner, who's running for state representative over there in the Tyler area. We got to do an event with him at a great venue in Tyler, and then Monday I got to go, stay kind of around back in my home area up in Northeast Texas, where we did an event up in Avenger. Got to meet just a quality people up there that are also running for office. But additionally got to meet a gem of a person like Paul Hale, who is a political influencer up there, who is fully 100% behind our campaign to unseat Dan Patrick and become your next lieutenant governor. And then got to meet face to face personally one of my legislative heroes, State Representative David Simpson, who was in the Texas House back in, the matter of fact, he's actually mentioned in the Texas book, right? He's mentioned in there about his anti-groping bill related to the TSA and was the cause of Barack Obama threatening to enact a no-fly zone over Texas. A guy who takes hard principled stands. And I got my first opportunity since he was no longer in the ledge to visit with him and just tell him what a stellar example he has been to me personally. So we've got just a ton. We on the way through today, because we're down here in Corpus now. We've got an event in Corpus Christi tomorrow. And then the day after, and I'll throw this graphic up there. If you were down anywhere in around Goliad County, come on out. We're going to be right out there at McMillan's world famous barbecue in Fannin, which is right there, right adjacent to the battleground, the Goliad battleground. So, definitely come on out. That's going to be Friday. We're going to be there from 5:30 to 8. And I do believe it is a come and go. So you can show up, let's meet, let's visit. It's going to be a fundraiser. So there's going to be people out there that are going to be getting their barbecue on. And I got to tell you, I have heard some raves about McMillan's. I mean, it says it's world famous barbecue. You cannot argue with the name of a barbecue place that has the words world famous in it, right? I think so. So anyway, the flyer that we were provided it says pay online or at the door, but we haven't seen a link to pay online. So just prepare to pay at the door, right? So just come on out. Plates are $25 each. And come on, and that's if you want to eat. If you would like to come out and just meet, visit, and I think I'm going to speak a little bit, you are more than welcome to come on out. Again, that is Friday, February the 25th. That's going to be from 5:30 to 8 o'clock there in Fannin, right up against the Goliad battleground. So if you're anywhere in that area, come on out. I would love to meet you, to shake your hand, and to thank you for your support. And there has been an awful lot of me having to thank people as of late, whether it's Chris Powell, who actually organized this fundraiser, coming in a clutch and, going out and securing us an additional 500 yard signs so we could cover more polling locations, or someone who anonymously hooked us up so that we could get on the air with the radio ads. I mean, it's anonymous now, but it'll be on the TEC reports. But anyway, the bottom line is that so many people have pitched in. Lee Jacobson, who covered his entire area around Taylor County and all of the surrounding counties and connected with thousands of people. Paul Roby, who's driving all over Hell's Half Acre to run logistics for the campaign. I mean, I just am stunned and humbled by the amount of support that we have seen. And then, of course,
all of the emails and social media messages and text messages from all of you that are letting me know that you voted for me or that you took someone to the polls or you spread the word. I can't thank you enough. It's it gives you a good feeling running into election day that we've got a shot at this, folks. We've got a real shot to break the back of the political establishment and send a shockwave through them, the likes of which they have never seen. But just because we have good reports, don't let up. You know, one of the things that I think we've got to talk about tonight is how voter turnout in these primaries has been historically low. I mean, it's really, really, really low right now. And so that's typically good for the challengers, and that would be us. And so it really is going to be a game of getting out the vote. So if you voted, that's great, but your job's not over yet, right? You've got to get people out there to vote. You've got to get them out there. You've got to help them understand who the candidates are. And right now, people are looking for that kind of leadership. We went to go visit. On the way through to Corpus, we stopped in Fredericksburg and visited with State Representative Kyle Biederman. And Kyle, while we were there, we stood at the entrance of the store visiting, and everyone that came in, he was encouraging them to vote for me. And I know he does it all the time. It's not because we were there, but you know, here was the candidate they had a chance to meet. And I heard time and time again people say to him, you know, when he said, okay, hey, this is the guy you need to vote for lieutenant governor, they said, that's great, because I was going to contact you anyway. I needed to know about some of these other races too. Right. So oftentimes, you know, although, you know, and we talked about this, we were on a mailer that hit over 900,000 Republican primary voters. It's been hitting mailboxes over the last week or two. There's been another mailer that came from another PAC where we were endorsed on the slate, and we had Wise County conservatives send out mail. I mean, so there's a lot of these things going on, but at the end of the day, the best person, there you go, you're good. The best person to help others understand is you, right? I mean, you may not realize it, but right now, there are people who are looking to you to help them understand and make sense of the world of politics. Because, my friends, it is a convoluted business, right? And I'm not entirely sure that that's not by design to some extent. But there are people that are looking to you. They're looking to you to help them make sense of this, because they don't get to go out to the forums. They don't get to see the candidate. I mean, they don't, but they want to be engaged. And some people are just out there waiting in the wings, right? Waiting for you to say something. They're watching you, but they're waiting for you to engage. So don't hesitate. Start the conversation with people and be sure to get them out there. We've got a couple more days. Thank you. We've got a couple more days of early voting. Friday's the last day of early voting, and then election day is March the 1st. And as I told that group last night, not sure how they received it, but what I told them last night is that, March 1st is election day, and a lot of how we behave and the actions we take on March 1st are going to dictate how we celebrate March 2nd, which is Texas Independence Day. So, it's super important. Speaking of, a couple of things. Number one, I want to invite you guys now. I know I talked about it a little bit last time, but I wanted to invite you guys, every one of you, to come on out. We're having our Take Texas Back watch party March the 1st in Houston. I'm going to be there. Dan and Daphne will be there. Other people from the TNM. We've invited other candidates to come participate as well. We're going to be at a place called Poor Behavior, which I think is hilarious. Yep. And it's POUR behavior, right? But that's where we're going to be having our watch party. It's on Travis Street in Houston. And it's going to be from 7:30 to about 10:30. That's when we should be able to see some of the election returns come in and get a pretty good sense of what's going on, unless it's super close. But officially, the watch party is going to be from 7:30 to 10:30 at Poor Behavior over on Travis Street in Houston. So come on out. We'd love to see you, because not only is that happening, but
the next day, and all of you that are on the TNM's email list should have gotten an email about this today. It was actually a combination email. Number one, talked about the precinct conventions that will come after the primaries. But in addition to that, if you scroll down, you're going to see that something I talked about last week, which is the TNM has a booth or a tent at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, okay, for Texas Independence Day. So we're going to have a big Texas Independence Day celebration. There is no entry fee into the tent, but you do have to pay to get onto the rodeo grounds. But you don't have to get rodeo tickets or event tickets. Just you got to pay to get on the rodeo grounds. But once you're there, you'll have access to the TNM's tent and all the other tents that are there as well. So, get that done. Let me flash this up there because this is important. I do not have it handy, so I will create this for you really quickly. Look at that. Boom. So if you want to find out more, head over to tnm.me/events. That's tnm.me/events. And that will get you all the information that you need related to the tent that we have out there for Texas Independence Day. And of course, since we're going to be there and it's going to be kind of a quasi-campaign event, a post-election celebration, you can head over to danielomiller.com/events. That's danielomiller.com/events. Okay, that brings me to something else. Because of the special that we're doing, the special event that we're doing on March the 2nd, the TNM has released a limited edition TNM Texas Independence Day t-shirt. You guys, that was part of the email. I think it was posted on social media today as well. But let me tell you, there are limited quantities of these things. And my understanding is that one size or more may already be sold out. So, I wanted to cover that tonight. If you did not get the email, did not see any of the other announcements, head over to tnm.me/store. You will find it under the section for short sleeve shirts. When did that become a tongue twister? Tonight we're tired, right? That's what I thought. But anyway, you can get your limited edition TNM Texas Independence Day t-shirt. Go to tnm.me/store, go over to the short sleeves, and you will find it there. And I'm going to tell you, it is a fine shirt. And if you look at that graphic there, I mean, that's just incredible. Got our nice independence flag. He's rocking the TNM logo on his chest. But that's what we're going to do. So be sure to get that and hurry up because, like I said, the quantities are limited because it is a limited edition. And when we are out, we are out. So be sure to get those. Okay, fun times. Well, let me do this before we move on. Let me take a look real quick. I know you guys. A reminder for those of you that have just joined. You were watching Late Night Coffee Talk with Daniel Miller. That is me. And I'm having my weekly decompress with talking about all things Texas, all things Texit, anything TNM, and reminding everyone right now, if you have questions, get them in. You can send those questions in by commenting if you're watching on the Facebook pages. And, of course, on YouTube in chat. Kara's going through those. She's grabbing your questions. And I'm going to go ahead and take a few right now, if that's all right. And of course, comments. Okay, right out of the gate, somebody wanted to know, Theodore wanted to know the music that we lead off Coffee Talk with, and that is a song called Texan Arise on an unreleased album by none other than the executive director of the Texas Nationalist movement, Nate Smith. And so he gave us sort of exclusive access to it, early access, and we've been using it ever since. So that's what it is, but you can check it out. Somebody will probably go in the chat, find it, and drop a link to where you can access it. All right, let's move on. Hey, lots of good comments like I talked about. Eric, thank you so much for your vote. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Shirley, same thing with you as well. Thank you so much. And Troy sent in his message. Thank you for doing that and getting out there and I mean, it's just, these messages are just humbling. I just don't know how to behave. But here's Ben. Ben says you got 2 votes today, Daniel. So that either means that you got someone to vote with you, or you accidentally voted in the Democratic primary, because I think that flies over there, right? Incredible. I'm just joking, Ben. Thank you. Okay, so let's see here. Here's a comment. Look at this. Again, this goes to the dedication I'm talking about. And I'm going to tell you, any of those events that we have been at around the Houston area, Cynthia has been a fixture there. She says, been working the polls for Daniel Miller, handing out flyers and connecting with about 60 voters a day. It was a cold one today. Cynthia, I cannot thank you enough, because I saw and I hear that, and saw pictures of Christina Drury today up there working the polls in Tyler, dressed pretty much like an Eskimo. She had on the hood with the fur line and everything else. So thank you guys for that. Look, teamwork makes the dream work, right? There are 2 things in this life that we have direct control over. That's our attitude and our effort. Our attitude has been one of positivity, of urgency, right? And no one can question the effort of our folks, right? I mean, we're leaving it all on the table, and we're going to go into this thing 110% pedal to the metal all the way through the closing of the polls on March the 1st. So, Cynthia, thank you. All right, let's see. Here we go. Here's one. Shirley says, I've watched many of your events. You rock the house everywhere. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I don't rock the house everywhere, but one thing that is absolutely certain is you will never catch me saying one thing to one group of people and something different to a different group of people, because I don't pander, right? I go in and I kind of speak from here. And yeah, you're going to hear some things that are the same, but every time I speak, it is going to be something completely different. It's going to be a different thing, because I talk right from here. I have a conversation with people where I perceive them to be before we start. And that's the conversation we have. And it may be a short conversation, maybe a long conversation. And when I say short, I mean, yes, I am referring to the infamous Corsicana Candidate Forum, where we were given a whopping 15 seconds to introduce ourselves and tell people why we're running, and whatever it was, 15 seconds. Polo, thank you so much. Thank you. And I can't thank you enough for you and your family getting out there and getting it done. And look, see, this is the one I'm talking about right here. My wife and I made 1,500 flyers and passed them out 2 days ago. Did not know that was happening, but this is what I'm talking about. So, Manny, thank you so much. I cannot express my gratitude. I can't possibly do it. You guys are just phenomenal folks, and I'm proud to know every one of you. And I don't know, since I'm in Corpus, maybe I will see Manny tomorrow evening, right? Okay, so here's one. Carlton says, what son, or I'm thinking this is song, what song will the national anthem of the Republic of Texas? Well, right now, the state song is Texas Our Texas, and I suspect that it will probably continue to be our national anthem. And, I'll tell you a funny story about this. So when we founded the TNM in 2005, we if you look at our mission on the about page, it talks about the political, cultural, and economic independence of Texas. And it's a holistic mission. We did it based off of a lot of study of independence movements around the world, and we knew that the cultural emphasis was extremely important. And I can tell you, in 2005, at political events, they would say the U.S. pledge. They might sing the Star Spangled Banner, but there was nothing Texas, not a thing. And I can't think of, probably even up until 2020, 12 or past, uh, so we as we began to educate people, and more people joined the TNM and then went and became integral parts of the political parties. That's one of the things that they instituted, right? So when I can remember one of the conventions that we went to, our SD broke into, and if you've ever been to one of those Republican conventions, the Senate districts break into SD caucus meetings, right? So SD4, all the delegates that are there for our district got together in one room. And our delegation from Jefferson County was comprised of a ton of TNMers. And the insistence is that if you did the US pledge, you also did the Texas pledge. And if we're going to kick off the meeting, that we need to kick it off with singing. We need to kick it off with Texas, Our Texas. And you should have seen the baffled looks on people's faces as all of a sudden a large contingent of people in that caucus were singing Texas, Our Texas at the top of their lungs and knew the Texas pledge verbatim, right? But now it has been a fixture. Am I wrong? Where we go to all these events, they're saying the Texas pledge, and if they're singing, by and large, we're getting to hear some, at least the first verse of Texas, Our Texas. And I can say that is in no small part due to the influence that we have built through the TNM and people that we've educated on how important it is to maintain that cultural tradition of the things that makes Texas separate and unique, right? That expresses a national character. So it's been quite interesting. So Texas, Our Texas, I think would be a good one. And it beats having to learn a whole new song, right? Okay. Hang on, guys. I'm sifting and sorting. So thank you all very much. And a reminder, if you would like to drop a question in, drop it in the comments there, whether it's the comments on Facebook or on the YouTube chat. And if you have questions, I'll see them and we'll get them done. Okay. It's been more talk than coffee. Well, it's not your fault. It's totally my fault. I'm doing a lot of talking and not a lot of drinking coffee. Yeah, Dan's hooking me up. He's got me squared away. All right, so moving right along, as we wait for the chat to catch up. Here's a couple things that I think is important to note, and it's been. Sorry, I just got a chat message from Kara. She's running production at home. And when I mentioned the thing about coffee, she thought that I was out, and it slipped her mind that I was not in my office. And so she just jumped and ran to the office to get my cup to fill it. Oh, wow. Guys, if you can't tell, we're all running a bit ragged, but we're happy warriors, right? I mean, this is the thing about it. As we are pushing toward this line, we've got the best chance that we've ever had to absolutely upset the system. I mean, you heard me talk about it earlier, where we had over 900,000 Republican primary voters get their card that said Daniel Miller needs to be your guy for lieutenant governor, and that's just one among many. And we're up on radio, and our volunteers are pushing hard. And I mean, this is incredible. I mean, it is absolutely incredible, the opportunity that we have here. So we got to give it all. We've got to give it all. 100% leave nothing on the table. I can tell you that back in the 90s, I had a good friend, a mentor of mine. You guys have heard me talking about him before. His name's David Carr. David ran for school board the first time there in my old hometown of White Oak. And, I volunteered right out of the gate. I will absolutely help you. I'll put out signs. I'll do whatever you need, because that's how much I absolutely respect this man. And it was a bloody battle, right? It was, there was a very divisive issue in the community related to the school boards, something about outcome-based education, which was kind of the entree to social emotional learning, which open the gate, the doorway to CRT. So, it was a big fight. We were fighting that fight back in the 90s. And I can remember the night before the election, right? Because we were all going to go stand out at the polls. The night before the election, Dave was able to get his hands on some shirts. He got them all printed. And volunteers who showed up to the polls that night, we had a big kind of a get together there in the parking lot, and he handed these shirts out and emblazoned across the front. It was not some picture. It was not a campaign logo. It said 2 words. It said "No regrets." No regrets. And that's how we ran that campaign, and that is how we ran it. Is so that when it was all said and done, win, lose, or draw, we knew that we had left it all on the field, every bit of it, and had no regrets. So I would say that that's kind of where we're at. Well, let's talk about this, because we need to talk about how the rest of this week is going to go. And by the way, let me. I know somebody has already asked. I'm not gonna ask that question kind of out loud, but they asked for this. They want to know how they could donate to the campaign. You can head over to dmcdonate.com. That's dmcdonate.com. And it's important. I know the tendency may be to let off the gas a little bit because we are close, but we're not done, right? Because if you think about it, couple of scenarios here, right? We've got to push all the way to March 1, right? Which means we still got to be on radio. We still, if we need signs, I mean, there's things that need to be done all the way right up to March 1. But one of 3 scenarios is going to exist, right? Number 1, we don't make the runoff. Okay. Worst case scenario, we don't make the runoff, in which case that campaign is done and we go back to fighting, back to what we do for the organization that we were doing every second of every day before this campaign kicked off, right? So we go back there. So that's worst case. Second scenario, we make the runoff, which means we have 12 more weeks of campaigning going head to head with Dan Patrick, which means that we're going to have to do an awful lot. Our work doesn't get to end. We have 12 more weeks of it. Okay. And then we have the general election in November to go beat probably Mike Collier, the Democrat, who's going to get tons of money in from California and New York and K Street lobbyists and all those people. So, that's the long path. And then the third scenario is we beat Dan Patrick outright. We just go head to head with the Democrats, right? But either way, it never stops. Yeah, I'm not going to have to be in 4 places on the same day anymore. Or maybe I am. We don't know. But the point here is that we can't let off the gas. We got to play this game all 4 quarters. That includes now. So if you could spare a few dollars, if you haven't given, give 2, 5, 10, whatever you can give. Because I can tell you our campaign finance reports by sheer number of donors, of individuals, is far more impressive than anybody else in this race, including Dan Patrick. Yeah, we're not raising scads of money. We're not raising Dan Patrick money, but the number of different people that it's coming from has given folks, people have taken notice, right, of that aspect of our campaign, is that it is a true movement campaign. So dmcdonate.com. Additionally, Paul Roby is looking for volunteers to help work the polls. To help work the polls on election day. This thing, stop. There we go. Boom. So Paul's looking for volunteers to help work the polls throughout the last couple of days of early voting, but especially on election day, March the 1st, to get out there, wave signs, engage voters, hand out push cards, whatever it is, just be visible. And you can find out more about how to do that at danielomiller.com/volunteer. That's danielomiller.com/volunteer. So be sure you get out there and do that. And Kara is reminding me to thank Lee Jacobson, which tells me that 15 minutes ago when I was raving about Lee Jacobson that she missed that, but that was probably when she went to go get my coffee and I'm not there. So thank you again, Lee. Gary wants to make sure you're squared away, buddy. Had a great time. And by the way, look, for those of you that are sending in emails and asking questions in the chat right now, um, if you still don't know who to vote for, right? And we're getting these emails multiple times a day. People hitting us up on social media, coming in on the chat tonight. Well, who should I vote for? Yeah, I get it. I'm going to vote for you. Daniel Miller, I'm going to vote for you for lieutenant governor. But, what do I need to know about these other candidates or positions? I am sending everyone to this address, taketexasback.com, right? Taketexasback.com. And what you're going to find there is a list of candidates that have taken the Texas First Pledge. Now, there are over 80 plus candidates that have signed the Texas First Pledge. That is the pledge that was put forward by the T&M's Political Action Committee, right? And so that's our pledge. And we've had well over 80 candidates sign that pledge, all the way from gubernatorial candidates to lieutenant governor candidates, all the way down to local positions, people that are running for county commissioners and constables. And, of course, now that filing opened up for the municipal elections, we're getting school board candidates and people like that. So if your candidate has not signed the Texas First Pledge, ask them why not. Direct them to taketexasback.com. But that being said, if you're looking for candidates to vote for that align with our values, our worldview, our beliefs, head to taketexasback.com. There you will see a list of the candidates who have signed the pledge. Okay, so let me revisit. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. We got about 14 minutes left before I have to consume this coffee and tear back into it. So let's see what we got going on here. Okay, so apparently someone was there in Abilene last night, needs signs. Boom, Daphne has answered it when she's literally sitting right over here on the couch. She could literally have just said, hey, somebody asked, and then said it. But you didn't. So now you're on the screen, which is way cool. But anyway, look, that's the other thing too, is if you need campaign materials, if you want to, if you want to do that, go volunteer. Talk to our field director, Paul Roby. Drop him an email, paul@danielomiller.com. Like I said, he's always looking for help. And if you can help with distributing signs or campaign materials, whatever it is, go hit him up. We need the help. Just we are running this thing on volunteers and lots of coffee. Truth. Okay, let me throw this out there too, as we're getting ready to wrap up, because I'm about to go ahead and just drop my final thoughts for tonight, because I've got some. But on the road, we have gotten a tremendous number of Texit questions, right? And because, as Joanne Fleming over at Grassroots America We the People said, because I'm not a one-trick pony and the campaign is not solely focused on the Texit issue, granted, it is a large, omnipresent thing anywhere that we're at, as it should be, because it affects every aspect of our life. And, when they're introducing me at candidate forums as the Texit guy, it's just the way it is, right? But that being said, we have a limited amount of time together, and we're talking about not just the Texit issue, but we're talking about the border and securing the border and our specific plans, because we're the only lieutenant governor candidate with specific plans to do the things that we're promising, right? But whether we're talking about the border or property taxes or any of these things, the thing that we get time and time again is that people want to come and they want to ask Texit questions, because for some of these people, this is the first time that they have been introduced to the idea that Texas could and should become a self-governing independent nation. So we're getting, especially when these events wrap up, we're getting a ton of people come to the table. We get a handful of border questions, handful of property tax questions, but we're getting tons of Texit questions. Tons. And the other thing that has been kind of interesting is we have moved a lot of copies of Texit on the campaign trail. The TNM, those are the TNM's copies. And so all of that money goes in contributions to the organization. So the campaign doesn't make a dime off of them. But with those books there, people want to come. I mean, people would they would gladly come take a push card, right? That's got bullet points on it, but people are coming and they're getting the books, right? Which means they want to do the deeper dive on the thing. But what I wanted to say is this: if there are those of you out there tonight that are just now being introduced to this issue of Texit, I'm going to encourage you to go to this website right here. It's called texitnow.org. And there you're going to find roughly 100 of the most asked questions and the answers to those questions. And you're going to be able to do a lot deeper dive than we can really get into after a candidate event, right? And while I would love to tell you to get the book, I think the book is a really good place. If you want to find some specific question that you have just have a burning desire to know the answer, your place to get that is going to be at texitnow.org. And you're going to just find a wealth of information regardless of what your question is. It's going to be there, and if it's not there, there's a place where you can ask, right? We've got places built in where you can actually ask a question if you don't see it listed there. So anyway, all right. Well, here we are. We're about 9 minutes out, and I have got lots of work to do still. So here's my parting thoughts. Hang on, let me just check. Let me make sure there are no further questions because I don't want hate mail. Yeah, some of these are really, really long, and I don't know that I can get to them, but I'll save them. So, some of you folks, the land reform question, the public transit question, the TEA question, Shirley, that's going to need some space of its own. So if you would hang on to that one for next week, I would be more than happy to tackle that. And of course, next week I'm going to be in transit, so I think I'm going to have to do coffee talk a little bit late. Which reminds me, yeah, I know, right? So day after Texas Independence Day, I get to fly out to New Hampshire to go speak at an event that's being held up there. I believe it's on the calendar right now, but representing the TNM, talking about the issue of self-determination, and particularly states within the United States that are seeking independence. So looking forward to being with our friends up there with the Foundation for New Hampshire Independence and some of the leaders of some of the other independence movements around the United States. And of course, our good friend, Stephen Axelman, who is with Americans United for Peaceful Separation. So it's going to be an interesting panel. Going to get to spend some time with some other like-minded folks and spread the good word about Texit up there to that bunch. And I got to tell you, it would be really cool walking in there as potentially the next lieutenant governor of the state of Texas. I mean, that would be huge, right? So let's do that, right? Let's make that happen. So anyway, as we proceed into what is, I guess this is the final coffee talk before election. No, there's one more, right? Oh, there's not. This is it, huh? That's right. Because next Wednesday is Texas Independence Day. That is going to be phenomenal. I got it. See, this is what happens. This is what happens when your days are screwed up. I just can't even. Wow. Okay. So this is indeed the final coffee talk before Election Day. And so I know that I have expressed a tremendous amount of gratitude tonight. And I cannot thank you all enough. And I would love to see each and every one of you, if possible, at the watch party. But I want to take this opportunity to really speak to those of you out there that have not voted, that may be considering not voting, that may just now be finding out about our campaign. And I want to take this opportunity to speak directly to you, Because you see, and I've said this in so many candidate forums now, I'm sure it probably sounds a bit cliche at this point, but I want you to understand that at my favorite, at my, I guess at my, with every fiber of my being, I firmly believe that the next 100 years of Texas history are being written right now. Before I ever decided to run for lieutenant governor, you can go back and look at my speeches from a year ago, and you can see that this is what I was telling people. You know, a year ago, Kyle Biederman filed, it was a little over a year ago, Kyle Biederman filed our bill that we wrote, the Texas Independence Referendum Act. He filed that piece of legislation. And as I sat down at dinner last night talking to Lee Jacobson after the event, you know, I told him, I said, I knew one day we would be at this point. I knew that we would be advancing the principles of freedom and independence for Texas, the political, the cultural, the economic independence. We would be making strides to preserve and protect the constitutional Republican form of government and securing the rights of the people of Texas. I knew we would be at this point one day, but it does not prevent me from being shocked that we're here right now. It doesn't prevent me from being surprised that we're living in the moment. It doesn't rob from the awe that I have, frankly, in what we've been able to do. And so I enjoy every moment of it, but I believe what I said then, and I believe it right now, which is that I believe that these next 100 years of Texas history are being written right now. And I have to say that everyone should know, they sense it at a very visceral level, that Texas is at a turning point, right? We're at a fork in the road. We are at our collective line in the sand moment. And how this goes down, I think, is really entirely up to us. I believe, as I said, with every fiber of my being, in the ability of the people of Texas to execute what needs to be executed and preserve liberty for future generations. I believe that when we are faced with that choice, one among many on the road to independence, I believe the people of Texas will choose right. I believe that when given the opportunity to choose freedom and independence and liberty, that the people of Texas will choose that, because, frankly, the alternative is unthinkable. And as if we take that other choice, if we go down that path and we embrace the status quo, or if a significant number of our countrymen embrace the status quo, then it begins to severely limit our choices as we move down the path. And we don't want that. We want our people to understand that the status quo for us means is that 100 years from now, Texas will be unrecognizable and may, in fact, not exist. So it is for us an existential moment, the moment where we choose what we want our future to be. And I ended my book, Line in the Sand, with a quote from a TV show that I watched, that I was a big fan of for many years, where they said, you know, it taught us, talking about the object, that we had to write the future or it would be written for us. And that is the opportunity that we have here. You know, you have an opportunity before you to have a lieutenant governor that actually believes, that actually holds principles that are like yours, and that believes them with so much vigor, that believes them with again, every fiber of his being, that it would be worse than death to compromise on those principles. You see, as it stands right now, the status quo is leadership in Austin does not have the strength to stand up for us or between us and the coming onslaught from the federal government, from the neo-Marxists and the globalists and the wokeists, if you want to call them that.
Our current leadership has shown time and time again that when push comes to shove, they will pick the federal system over their own people. They'll pick obedience to federal judges to the preservation of your rights, appeasement to the donor class to doing what's right for you. And we can't afford that right now because that next 100 years of Texas history is indeed being written right now. And if we leave these people in place, if we consciously choose to maintain the status quo, then what is coming down the pike is the choice by proxy. The Biden administration is just the tip of the iceberg. It's everything around, above, below. It's all of that ideology that pits itself as diametrically opposed to the things that we believe. That rights come from God and not from government. That we have individual rights. That we have to have a secure border if we're going to have a sovereign state and sovereign nation. That all political power is inherent in the people, right? So this is a battle of diametric opposites. Never before in our history, I think, probably with the exception of that time, kind of around this time of year back in 1836, actually in a few days, it will be the anniversary of that. I don't know that the choice has been any clearer than when Travis drew his line in the sand. We have two options, but we get one choice. And so the choice is yours. And so tonight, I would encourage you to do your due diligence. If I have done what it takes to earn your vote, I will cherish it just like it was a precious diamond, because ultimately that's what it is. It is you bestowing your faith and your hopes in me that I will fight for you, that I will do everything I can to protect and preserve our way of life, to support, protect, and defend the constitutional republic, to give you your right to choose how you are governed, including giving you the choice to reassert Texas status as an independent nation, to do the things necessary to treat Texas as so precious and your life is so precious that we're willing to fully militarize the state guard and deploy them to the border, that we are perfectly capable and willing to stop and cease the immoral tax, the property tax, and so many other things, like ending the barbaric practice of sex change operations for children, and all of these things that just are diametrically opposed to everything that Texas is and everything that Texas should be. So that being said, as you get ready in these last few days of early voting, and even if you wait until March the 1st, do your due diligence. But in the end, I humbly and respectfully, I ask for your support, I ask for your prayers, and I ask for your vote to become the next lieutenant governor of the great state of Texas. And with that, my friends, again, a big hearty thank you to all of you who have vested your faith and confidence in me, that have worked your tails off, whether you spoke to someone else, gave a vote, or like many of these other volunteers we talked about, just went out there and went above and beyond and just fought the good fight. We are closer than we have ever been to realizing the dream that many of us have had for decades. And it's incredible. So for the final time tonight before Election Day, I leave you with the words I leave you with every single solitary week. It was Sam Houston who said that Texas will again lift its head and stand among the nations. I believe that time is now. And the question is, will you stand with her? Good night, everyone. Good luck. God bless you, and God bless Texas.